URC round number 8, folks. Ulster up against Connacht as we get underway a couple of weeks of kind of rivalry matches, all Irish affair. And it's a pretty close one, 20 points to 19. We'll go through some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. I was kind of planning to watch Edinburgh and Glasgow, to be honest, but New Zealand broadcaster opted to go with Ulster and Connacht, and I will, I guess, thank them for it because it was a bit of a ding-dong battle that went down to the final whistle. Bit of a game of two halves. I think Ulster will be a little bit disappointed they didn't score more points in the first. Connacht, likewise, more points in the second. And I don't know, man. If not for a couple of soft penalties from the Connacht point of view, maybe a disallowed try, maybe a misconversion, they get a famous away win. But not to be a good crowd in the rain. Very vocal, but yeah, flying start. Flying start for the Ulster boys, man. Jeez, I don't even know if they can't even touch the ball before they managed to get the first Ulster try. Warwick over on 3 minutes. Yeah, just absolute intense pressure. The Connacht boys didn't have an answer to it. 7 points to 0. Fabulous start. It's exactly what you want if you're the home fans. But Connacht hit pretty much straight back. As I mentioned, it is a ding-dong affair. I mean, they took a little bit longer to get the points on the board because they managed to get themselves held up, which was a little bit of good kind of Ulster defence to use that awareness to sometimes go for the hold-up. I still feel like teams opt to push back, but there are situations where if you can get your arms around the ball carrier where you can just hold them up and just pull them forward towards the goal line. But they managed that, but there was still a advantage anyway. So interestingly for the Connacht guys, they opt for a tap. I'd love to see a stat on that. I feel like more and more teams are going for the tap. A couple of seasons ago, maybe even 3 or 4 seasons ago, it was very few teams that would do it. Exeter would do it a lot, but not that many teams would go for the tap. Now everybody's bloody doing it, but they go for the tap, they go through some phases. Bundy Aki goes over, 7 points to 7. There's a bit of handbags, which is kind of what you want to see. I mean, I know the handbags these days, it never escalates to anything else. Very rarely do you see anyone actually throw a punch at each other, but you don't want these sides to like each other. That's the whole point of the kind of rivalry weeks, right? Is to see a bit of fiery, emotion on the line from some of the players. So 7 points to all. Connacht on 13 minutes looked to have gone ahead when Mac Hansen put through a little dink through Byron Ralston. It goes into the in goal. He grounds it. The TMO has to have a look at it. It's an on-field try, but they ruled that it's just touched the kind of dead ball line, so it's a no try. Unlucky for Connacht. If they get that try there, they would have gone ahead. They didn't go ahead in the entire game, but that would have been it. Rain really starts coming down. Ulster also not opting for threes. They managed to get themselves a try. It goes back to a Connacht kind of deliberate knock-on, which I think some of the Connacht pundits said they thought should have been a yellow, but I thought that would have been a bit harsh. The referee just goes penalty only. Ulster maul it. Connacht conceded penalty. Ulster go for that famous tap that I was just talking about. This time it's their turn to tap. Couple of phases. Timoney's able to burrow over, so 14 points to 7. Crowd loves that. And then they love it even more when the Ulster win a turnover after a large amount of Connacht phases. I almost love it more when the crowd gets behind a key kind of defensive play than just a try. So, yeah, man, they were singing, what does it stand up for the Ulster, man? They were in full voice for a turnover. I love every second of that. Big cheers. Addison has a great touch finder. Treadwell has a line-out steal. Connacht conceded a penalty at the breakdown. Seems to be going all Ulster's way. Ray has a wee knock-on to kind of let them off. That's the period of pressure I think Ulster would have liked some more points. Connacht get a penalty in the midfield. Cardi has a nice touch finder. They maul it, go through some phases, but knock it on, kind of getting towards half-time. So that was one of the few shots Connacht were able to fire before half-time. Ulster's scrum did seem to be getting to the edge, but yeah, we go into the half-time sheds with that 7-point deficit for the Connacht boys. Pretty tight game. I mean, possessions 49-51, that's pretty tight. Territories 52-48, that's pretty tight. Run meters is 152-137 to Ulster, pretty tight. Clean breaks 2-1, like there's not much in it. Tackling percentage 88-92, very, very, very little in it. Penalty count is even 6 apiece, so it's a proper ding-dong battle, man. But I do feel like Ulster needed at least a penalty or a try in that period of pressure they had, but they didn't get much out of it. So Yeah, they would be disappointed they only went with a 7-point lead. Second half, bit more handbags, which is again to be expected in a game like this. Bundy Aki gives away a soft penalty for being offside in front of the kicker, which leads to a bunch of phases, which leads to another penalty, which leads to Ulster this time opting for a 3. They want that 2-score lead, so it goes to 17-7. That's what I'm talking about. It's just when Connacht look back at this one, that'll be one that kind of burns, because that's a real soft penalty initially to concede that kind of field position. Connacht with a chance to hit back. They don't opt for a 3. They go for touch. They lose the line out. Another big cheer from the crowd. More Connacht pressure. They knock it on the tackle. You're wondering, can they get through this Ulster defence? Can they hang on to the ball in the wet? Well, finally, on 59 minutes, Seamus Hurley-Langton, who's a hell of a player, man. He's having a couple of really good seasons for Connacht. He fends off Balakoon. I think he busts through Addison as well. And, he's able to go through the final tackle of Hume to get the ball down. The TMO has a long look at it, but he goes over in the corner. It's a missed conversion, which in the scheme of things is pretty costly, but it was from the sideline in tough conditions. 17 points to 12. Ulster will be disappointed with that final defensive shift, but sometimes putting Lucy out on the wing can have that effect. Ulster's first chance for a wee while down Connacht's end leads to a penalty, which is kind of, I guess, efficient if you're looking at how many points they got from their chances in the second half. They opt for a 3, which is a smart move. 20 points to 12. That's the final scoring for the Ulster boys, but it's back to that 2-score lead. Bolton, my goodness, gets another heck of a try, pretty much straight in reply for Connacht. And it's another one where Ulster will be disappointed with the defending. Stockdale shoots up out of the line. He's unable to stop Bolton. And the hands in the build-up have been pretty sweet in the wet. Cooney tries to cover across and cover, but can't get it done. It's a sliding finish. 20 points to 19. Great conversion. 1-point game. 10 minutes to play, but no more scoring. I mean, Connacht stole a line out. They had a nice attack, but then Bolton was stripped on the tackle. Hansen was a little bit ambitious with a minute ago. His pass flings it wide, but it's forward. Leads to a scrum. Leads to Ulster kicking it out. So game over. Proper ding-dong battle. Like I mentioned, Connacht walk away with a losing bonus point. They outscored Ulster try-wise, 3-2, but not enough to get a 4-try bonus point, which would have been a cherry on the cake. But, they'll be disappointed they couldn't get the win for Ulster. Hung on pretty well, man. Took those chances in the second half. Real game of two halves. Possession finishes 50-50. Territory finishes 56-44 to Connacht with 64% territory in that second half. They were really knocking on the door. Ulster's defence had to hang on for large periods and force Connacht errors. Run meters 398 to 265 to Connacht. Defenders beaten 17-11 to Connacht. Clean breaks is 3 apiece, so that's kind of speaks to the tight nature of the game. The getting into open space was pretty hard to come by. Offload 6-3 to Ulster. Turnovers 6-4 to Ulster. Kicks from hand 24-15 to Ulster. So managing the right areas of the game. Also goal kicking 4 from 4 Ulster, 2 from 3 for Connacht. So sometimes it's the goal kicking that's the difference. Neither side's line out was that flash, 75% and 67% respectively. Also, Connacht conceded a few more penalties, 11-8. But overall, it's pretty tight in the scheme of things. Hurley-Langton finishes with 5 defenders beaten and 19 tackles. Heck of a shift. Also, Nick Timoney, 56 metres and 15 tackles. Also, equally good shift. Both guys get on the scoreboard. Bolton finishes with 77 metres. Hansen finishes with 73. Bolton beats 5 defenders. Tom Stewart beats 3. Balakoon and Stockdale, both missing tackles, but also both winning a couple of turnovers for the side. So, yeah, Ulster getting back to winning ways. So it seems like the European trip, their most recent result maybe spurred them on. Maybe they'll go on a wee run, but they've got an away game at Leinster next in the new year. That'll be a challenge. But it'll be a big game. Connacht, with the Irish theme continuing, will host Munster also in the new year. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Pretty tight one. You guys let us know your thoughts. Disallowed call, soft penalties, TMO decisions and whatnot. But you guys take care. Enjoy your break if you're having one. Hope you are. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.